There you go. Welcome to January's City Council meeting. We'll get this started with a moment of prayer. I'll yield my time to anybody that would like to pray. Not tonight, because the agenda prep, it was not decided, so. But it's me. I'll go. All right. All right, very good. Lord, thank you for everything you do for us and for this city. We ask that you guide us in our thoughts. You guide this body to make the best decisions possible with the knowledge that we know. We ask that you be with the citizens of this town, be with them, keep everybody safe, and eyes set on you and the right path forward. Lord, we ask this all in your name. Amen. And now we're going to observe a 30-second moment of silence. We start it. I would suggest I'm going to pray for the people in the wildfires in California. Those are in my heart right now, so we're going to do that in 30 seconds. We'll start right now. Thank you. Everybody turn and face the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a seat. Ms. Palladino is filling in for Ms. Skelton tonight, who's under the weather. So can we get a roll call?
Okay, thank you. Mr. George?
Here.
Ms. Wetzel? Here. Ms. Young? Mr. Olson?
Here.
Mr. Bradley?
Here.
Mr. Pearson?
Here.
Mr. Gray?
Here.
Mr. Keller?
Here.
Mayor Fred Teague is absent. Trey Smith?
Aye.
Gina's absent. We have a quorum.
Perfect. Can I get, everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from last month?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, passes. The financial report, Mrs. Baker is a little scratchy throat, so she's going to be quick, I think.
Yes. All right, I apologize in advance for my scratchy throat. The weather seems to have gotten it a bit. For December, our general fund revenues were $1.3 million, and that was 0.6% above what was budgeted, so that came in a little bit higher than expected, which is great. And below is the breakdown of sales tax and state turnback, franchise fees and permits, and other revenue. The tax revenue comparison between the city and county sales tax year to date, there was just a slight decrease from the prior year in the city. For 2024, 5.6 is what was received. For the county, there was a 2.98% increase. 6.8 is what was received. Below that is the city and county actual versus budget year-to-date analysis. And again, you'll see kind of the same trend. The city's just a bit below and the county is a bit above. General fund expenditures for December were $1,814,450, and this was 2.54% below what we budgeted. Street fund revenues for December totaled $1,052,029, and you'll see the breakdown of that revenue underneath it. Street operating revenue was 19.5% above projections. Street fund expenditures for December, operational expenditures totaled $262,022. Part of that was personnel-related expenses and utilities and other. Street capital spending was $21,654 for vehicle radios. There was no half-cent road tax spending. The 2014 sales tax spending was $34,881 for city parking lot maintenance. The 2021 sales tax spending was $371,304 towards drainage projects, downtown improvements, US 64 West sidewalk project, and the US 64 East pedestrian improvements. Economic development for December revenue was $126,648. Expenditures were $128,716. The balances of the various economic development funds as of December 31st, 2024 are listed below. A total of those four accounts is $5,865,328.11. Capital assets December revenue was all in interest. It was $1,281. There were no December expenditures for capital assets. For the 2021 sales tax, 2021 1-cent sales tax, you'll see a breakdown of what was received, what was spent, and the current balances. That total is $21,704,817 total. And I am very sorry for the abbreviated version, but are there any questions? Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Is there any questions? No. All right, moving on, mayor's report. Well, he doesn't have anything to report. So we'll go to the next thing. Consideration of Dylan Edgell for the nomination to the Planning Commission. Since that came out of a committee, we just have a roll call vote, so all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Passes. Item 1 passes. Item 2, we've got a consideration of the reappointment of Wayne Cummings to the Board of Adjustments. Again, another committee. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item number 3, consideration of the reappointment of Andrew Dotson to the A&P Board for a 4-year term. Again, another committee, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes as well. Typically, we have a departmental report. Are we going to, Kenneth, do you usually give an update on projects at this or no? Can you?
Normally not at the city council.
Okay. That's agenda prep. All right, gotcha. No report? Man, he made this easy for me this month. This is good. We're going to get right through this. All right, Personnel Committee, Mr. Chairman, you got anything?
We met and had our organizational meeting, and I was elected chair again, so hooray. That's it, thank you.
All right, good deal. Now to the Finance Committee. Mr. Keller, I'm assuming you're not in the same boat as everybody else.
Yes, Mr. Olson, we do have a couple items to go over. From our 5:30 meeting this evening, we have item 1, which is a consideration of a resolution to support the Friends of the Lattimore Home and authorize the Friends of the Lattimore Home to move forward with applying for the African American Culture Heritage Action Fund National Grant Program and for other purposes. This was sponsored by Sarah John Dahl, City Planner. I present item number 1 as a motion to adopt.
Item number 1, presented from the Finance Committee, is a motion to adopt.
Second.
Motion to adopt.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
From our,
Do we need to, is there anything we need to do to expedite that, or it just passes and it's
It
done?
passed when effect immediately.
Okay,
It's in
perfect.
effect now.
Good deal.
from our finance meeting would have been last Tuesday, item number 1 is an appropriation passed through from the city general fund in the sum of $387,989.57 to be used as a line item transfer for various accounts to correct end-of-year negative balances and personnel and non-personnel related accounts. We present item 1 as a motion to adopt.
Got a motion to adopt?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Items number 2 and 2A are grouped together. Item number 2 is consideration of a resolution providing for the amendment of the general fund revenue and expenditures budget for the city of Russellville for the year 2025. sponsored by the Finance Department. And similarly, item 2A is a consideration of a resolution providing for the amendment of the special funds revenue and expenditures budget for the city of Russellville for the year 2025, also sponsored by the Finance Department. Items number 2 and 2A are presented as a motion to adopt.
We got a motion to adopt on 2 and 2A from the finance. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 3 is an appropriation from the General Fund 2024 year-end carryover balance in the sum of $99,382.30 to be used to pay retroactive APRS expenses. And we present item 3 as a motion to adopt.
Item number, we got a motion to approve item number 3.
I have a
All in favor?
question about item number 3.
Sure.
It was discussed, making that a one payment, but we don't have any interest or
No.
anything on that, so there's no reason for us to not pay that out over the 4 payments, because we'll draw interest on that money during that time.
Brittany, are we making that payment in thirds, or is that all going to be one payment?
There was an agreement with APRS that gave us the option to pay it out quarterly over 18 months or 2 years, one of those two
Yeah.
timeframes if we chose to, or we could pay it in one lump
Right.
sum. We can do it whatever the will of the council is.
Well, did we not get an email about a $33,000 electronic payment yesterday? Was that the APRS?
That was for something unrelated.
Okay, all right. Okay, because it was APRS, all right.
Valid point.
I don't know that we ever decided, I don't know, I'm assuming that's the mayor's decision to, we approved it, and so it's his decision on how it's going to be paid, if we're going to enter into that agreement that APRS made with us, or if we're just going to pay in a lump sum.
No, I mean, not necessarily that should be on the finance committee.
Well, the full council, but
Yeah.
like, I like Mr. Pearson's option. I mean, we're not going to be having any interest on this amount if we pay it in installments, while we are accruing some interest on the amounts that we still leave in there. I mean, I think
It's a valid
there's no negative to doing it that way. And we could always go back and let's say we're going to do it over the course of 2 years, do quarterly payments. If we decided we wanted to go ahead and spend it all and pay it all out, 6 months from now, we could still do that.
I totally understand it. I'm just an advocate of paying stuff off, so it's really hard for me to say that, but to agree with you, but it does make sense. I mean, I don't know how much money we're talking on interest on that note. Over.
Roughly 2,500, a little bit less, because as we make payments, that amount goes down a little bit, but.
And there's no interest whatsoever with it paying it out. It's the exact same number, either way. Okay.
Are we going to have to reappropriate it, the balance next year? We would have to be reminded next year that it would be around $50,000 that's left if we're going to split it up into 8 payments over 2 years. Quarterly, 4 quarterly payments over, every 2 years.
We could appropriate it through the budget process if we know that we're gonna carry it into next year.
Mr. Smith, could we amend the motion where we would pay for this all in one sum? I would ask the mayor to do that. Would that be appropriate at this time?
Yes.
Okay, I would like to amend said motion that we do advise, that we do want this to be made in one payment.
That will require a second.
That will require a second.
What's that?
That does require a second.
Yeah, it does.
So the motion on the floor is to amend to where we pay this in one time?
No, we had the opportunity. Let's get a second so we can have some discussion. We don't have to pass it.
I'll second that for you. There you go.
Yes, we were offered by APRS the ability to pay this out over 18 months, I believe, was offered. But I believe in our discussions, I believe the mayor's viewpoint was, and when we discussed this at agenda prep and last in the December meeting, was that we should use carryover money and pay it and get it done. Now, here we are, and the mayor's not here, so he's not here to speak on what his decision was, but we passed this, and then the mayor was going to, I assume, make a decision on how to do that. So I'm just making a motion here that we pay this off in one sum, and go from there.
Do we have to revisit the first one?
I spoke to the mayor about this and brought up the interest aspect, and he seemed very open to, was that not your impression, that he seemed very open to drawing that interest and paying it out?
There's gonna be, they have, because there's other employees they're still taking. Oh, I got you. Yeah, got you.
Because we lose $4,500 roughly if we just pay it.
I mean, even if being conservative and saying $4,000, that's what we spent $10,000 on the city's portion for, like, the fireworks for 4th of July is $10,000. So that's 40% of the fireworks, you know? Or you could look at it 20% over the next 2 years.
Yeah, and it's this issue was strange and weird, and so I'd like to get this one off the books and move it on, and we know now what we know, so it won't happen again.
Is this just for the executive director's retroactive payments?
Correct.
And we still don't know about?
We do have those numbers, and Brittany can correct me, but it's 35,000 and 4,000 for the other two employees. Is that about right? So those will have to come, we'll get that, we've got that bill, it'll just have to come to the finance committee now that we've got it from APERS.
So I mean, still, if we're looking at, so approximately $140-ish thousand between those three retroactive payments.
I'm not on AMP anymore, but I believe they approved them, Ms. Wetzel or?
We were at
Ms.
municipal league, so I'm not really sure what they approved yet, but
was the other member, she's not here.
I got an email from Ms. Graham that said that they were going to pay, the AMP was going to pay that amount. Now, that's just an email, and I'm no longer on AMP, so, but that's what she said. So that part, we're going to have to wait on no matter what. We can't do anything about that tonight.
You know, I get the idea of wanting to pay it all off and this all be done, but, you know, being good stewards of, you know, the people's money, you know, I feel like there's no penalty to paying it out, and there's benefit or to keeping that in the bank drawing interest, whereas the only benefit from the other is just, well, we're done with it. And, you know, I kind of view, you know, it's $4,000. Yes, $4,000 can go to some other project that we have.
There's a motion on the floor, an amended motion on the floor to approve and pay one time the appropriation for item number 3 for the APERS expense. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
no.
Roll call.
Mr. George,
Aye.
Ms. Wetzel,
No.
Ms. Young, okay, Mr. Olson,
Abstain.
Mr. Bradley,
No.
Mr. Pearson,
No.
Mr. Gray,
Yes.
Mr. Keller.
No.
Amendment fails. So we're back to the original. Would somebody like to amend the original?
Mr. Olson, I move that we, sorry about that. I move that we amend the original motion and spread the payments out over, was it 24 or 18 months? 18 months.
18.
To equal payments over the course of 18 months.
Second. And we have a second. Ms. Brittany, was that, just for clarification, was it 18 months, 4 payments, or 6 payments?
It was between 18 and 24 months. That correspondence was between the mayor and Akers.
Okay. 18 months? Perfect. All right. We have a motion on the floor to approve item number 3 as an appropriation of $99,382.30 to pay out over the course of 18 months in equal payments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Gotcha. What?
You have to vote on the original motion.
No.
It's not in this other.
Gotcha. We got, all right, now we have, that's you though, because it's still in finance. The original motion.
So present item number 3 as a motion to adopt as amended.
Item number 3 has been presented as a motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Robert's Rules of Order, love it. Item number 4.
Item number 4 is an appropriation from the General Fund 2025 a year-end carryover balance in the sum of $208,121.64 to reconcile remaining 2024 general fund budget deficits of the administration, aquatic center, and fire departments. We present item number 4 as a motion to adopt.
Have a motion on item number 4 to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Items 5 through 12 are line item transfers in accordance with ordinance number 1783. And we present items 5 through 12 as a motion to adopt.
We have a motion to adopt items 5 through 12. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 13 is consideration of a resolution authorizing the mayor and the city clerk treasurer to enter into an agreement with Main Street Russellville for the calendar year of 2025 to manage and coordinate activities within the downtown revitalization program and for the maintenance and operation for other purposes, sponsored by Danielle Hausnick, Director of Main Street Russellville. We present item number 13 as a motion to adopt.
Got item number 13 with the motion to adopt. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Item number 14 is a resolution, or is a reimbursement request for the fourth quarter expenses for Main Street Russellville in the amount of $15,000. We present item number 14 as a motion to adopt.
Item number 14, having a motion to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes.
And last item on our agenda this evening for the Finance Committee is item number 15, consideration of a reimbursement request for fourth quarter expenses for the Boys and Girls Club in the amount of $18,510.22. We present item number 14 as a motion to adopt.
Item number 15 as a motion to
15
adopt.
as a motion to adopt.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Keller. Typically, we go to unfinished old business, but I would take a motion from somebody to go out of order and do new business, because it looks like the majority of our crowd is here for the new business item.
So moved.
Second.
Have a first.
It would be. Well, this has been the rules, but not traditional, so it's
Got a, Paul, got a motion first and a second to move new business to the front. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that takes us to item number 1 of new business. Consideration of an ordinance to rezone certain property in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes located at the corner of South Vancouver Avenue and West 12th Street, submitted by Barrett and Associates on behalf of Root Construction, Inc., unanimously recommended approval by the Planning Commission. What's the will? We have, is this one going to speak in?
We usually introduce the ordinance, and if there's a suspension of the rules for a reading about so many times, and then if it's read, and then at that point, we'll let the public come up for their 3 minutes each.
Gotcha.
I move for a suspension of the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation only for the first of 3 readings.
I have a motion and a second to read by title and short explanation only. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
An ordinance rezoning certain really in the city of Russellville, Arkansas, and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would rezone property which is located around the 1000 block of South Vancouver, as further shown by the attachments in this ordinance, Exhibits A and B, would rezone it from R1 to WN, which is walkable neighborhood as in the current Russellville zoning code.
And we have some speakers tonight I'd like to hear from. We've got Andy Ward as the first one on our list. If you can, come to the microphone, state your name, and you have 3 minutes. And I don't want to be the rude guy, but I got to cut you off at 3 minutes.
It's all good. I appreciate the council listening to me tonight.
Yes, sir.
So, speaking on behalf of the item under new business, I would like to ask the city council, in reference to the zoning change, what infrastructure will be added to help with the water drainage problems that already exist when more hard surfaces are added? Obviously, compressing the lot size will greatly reduce the saturation of the moisture that falls from rain and whatnot. So we already have a significant drainage problem in that area. So compressing these homes, adding these hard surfaces are going to create much more runoff into that creek that's already been problematic. So question number one, that was that. Question number two, what measures will be added or corrected to help with the extra traffic that continues to speed up and down South Vancouver Road? There's been a lot of improvements and thought going into what's there. It's currently not working. Adding potentially 36 new homes is going to create even more traffic in that area back there. So would like the council to consider that in their votes when the time comes. Third question, will there be any funding to repave South Vancouver from the large heavy truck traffic and other traffic? The median place there has already compromised the road surface integrity, and the road is already showing signs of rutting and is falling apart. So those are the 3 questions that I have for the council to keep in mind when they're voting on this topic. Thank you for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. Number 2, we have Miss Susan Coles. Calls. I'll let you say it again in the microphone for me.
Thank you, council members, for letting me speak tonight. My name is Susan Collis. I live on South Vancouver. Have noticed the sign being up just within the first part of the year, and was concerned about exactly what is involved with the walk-around neighborhood. I guess the question I have for the council members to think about, if there was a proposal of rezoning in your neighborhood, would you be receptive to this type of housing and or other development being put in your neighborhood, where the typical home size and home value is probably going to be greater than probably what is going to be built, and how it will actually would affect your property values with that particular development going in. So I would like you to think about that as you're considering this proposal. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ms. Collis. Mr. Walsh, looks like number 3.
A.J. Walsh, 1006 South Tulsa. Mr. Acting Mayor, may I negotiate with you, because it's very difficult to make any good statement in 3 minutes, and trade that 3 minutes for 3 questions of council members and city employees.
Well, with this,
My questions will be relatively short. They may talk much longer than that, but I don't want you to count their time.
right, well, this is a time for discussion, and Trey could probably,
Right, if you have, the way it's set up, there's discussion for you for 3 minutes, and then that's it. There's no quizzing or asking employees anything. I mean, it's for you to address the council with your comments.
but I am happy to answer any questions that you have.
Okay.
I just can't do it right here.
Okay. All right. I'm going to not even start then. I'm going to ask you to please veto or table the zoning request for a walkable neighborhood now. I've done some research. I'm continuing to do more, as has several others. I will tell you that as of today, no documents regarding the proposed walkable neighborhood development have reached the city engineer's office. Now, I understand that. But I'm extremely concerned about the zoning change going before anything that's locked in. There's no recourse if something changes after the zone is changed. Thank you for your time. You'll see me again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Hutchison.
My name is Phil Hutchison. I live at 1207 Whippoorwill. I am a Arkansas registered civil engineer. Number 1579 is issued in 1981. I spoke with the civil council several times about my concerns about inadequate piping to carry water coming from part of the watershed that contains the property under consideration for high-density development as well as the rest of the watershed. After the agenda meeting, I talked with the city engineer about the drainage plan the developer submitted. He stated that one had not been submitted. I discussed that with a representative of the developer and said that I would like to see the drainage modeling and the drainage plan. He stated that he did not have one. This is a drastic change to the land use in placing 36-plus units in a 4-block area, while the rest of the watershed has 8 blocks and only drains 58 houses. The city engineer stated that their weir has been constructed in this is the second issue, and the weir has been constructed in the sump. I was surprised not to have been notified of a significant change to the drainage since we're the only drainage pipe that enters into the sump from a subdivision over there. Our pipe comes in at the bottom of the sump. So this is going to cover our pipe that now goes into it. That's going to reduce the amount of water that pipe will carry by at least 21%. And then this will remove the change that they're talking about is taking about removing usable tables and walkways on the floor of the sump by any rainfall that exceeds the 12-inch pipe that's now at the bottom of the weir. And then that weir is 53 and about a quarter-inch tall, and it has to flow over that before it'll go out the existing 48-inch pipe. Another issue I was wondering about, we talk about these setbacks between the buildings. They're very small. There's only going to be, the eave on my house is about 18 inches. Well, when you took 2 18-inch eaves coming together and you're only giving up 5 foot from each property going across there, that doesn't leave much room between them. If there's a fireman trying to get up to the second floor, since they're saying that most of these are going to be 2-floor places to get the square footage, that the fire hose, that's only going to leave 42 inches to fit a fireman in the ladder if there's a fence between that property to get up there and get fire hose in the second window. Second thing is that if you're going to put all these garages on the back, there's probably not going to be a back door on that little shotgun house. So therefore, the only way to get in that building is through the front door. There may be a door in the garage like mine has, but it's not, I don't have an exterior door. There are large, how am I doing?
I'm sorry, Mr. Hutchison, we've reached your 3 minutes.
What a good deal. But I've left you a copy so you can read it all.
Thank you, Mr. Hutchison. Next, we have Mr. Perkins.
My name is Gary Perkins. I'm at 1014 South Tulsa Avenue. I want to speak today against the request to rezone the property at West 12th Street and South Vancouver Avenue from R1 to walkable neighborhood. I'm not against walkable neighborhoods as an idea. It simply is not the correct idea for this parcel of land. On January 2nd, I spoke to the Planning Commission and I explained to them that the area in consideration was not suitable for rezoning since it was inaccessible to any goods or services. In reading Russellville zoning code, the general description of a walkable neighborhood states the focus of the area is primarily residential, but institutional and some commercial uses will be incorporated and are anticipated to provide services to the surrounding residential uses. There is never going to be any commercial uses in this area, nor will there ever be any within a reasonable walking distance. A point I made on the second concerned a city planning organization called WalkScore, which establishes walkability ratings for neighborhoods and cities and towns throughout the United States. A score of 90 to 100 is excellent for walking. 0 to 24 is car dependent. This area of Russellville scores a 13. It is a completely car dependent area. In April of 2024, a geographer named Nat Henry created a nationwide walkability map website of the United States called CLOSE. It was devised by him originally to determine the ease in reaching destinations in Seattle, Washington by foot. Its popularity led him to do the entire country, and again, it determines the walkabilities of cities and towns. The portion of the map that means that most destinations of grocery stores, restaurants, and shops are 5-minute walks. Subsequent colors on the map mean that that's a longer walk. The close map indicates that this area of Russellville exceeds a 30-minute walk for any of those destinations. That's certainly not what most of us would consider walkable on a regular basis. The area in question could easily accommodate 20 to 25 homes if it remained R1. The only reason to rezone it would be to exceed that number because it clearly doesn't provide the quality of life items that walking neighborhoods promote. Everyone living there will have no choice but to drive daily to everything. This is a concept that will eliminate yards, green spaces, it'll affect water drainage, all in the name of more structures and larger profits. The City Council is tasked with finding a healthy balance between profit and city life. Too little profit and developers will not invest in your community, but too much emphasis on profit allows for low-quality additions which deter from the city's aesthetic. I believe packing many homes like sardines in a can, which is what will occur with this rezoning, will detract from one of Russellville's best neighborhoods for middle-class working citizens. I therefore ask you to deny this request for the change and maintain this area as R1. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Hook.
Gerald Hook, 1304 Whippoorwill. I'm against this ordinance. The main problem with this thing is it's called a walkable neighborhood, and in this area, as this gentleman pointed out, calling this a walkable neighborhood is an absolute joke. These people will have to have cars to get around, and you're talking about putting maybe 36 homes in this area. Now, where are they going to park? That's been a problem, and have enough trouble as it is with parking with people coming up and down Vancouver, racing down Vancouver as it is. The idea that it'd be walkable would be I'll walk to the bus station, catch the bus, go to the grocery store, to go to work or whatever. We have no bus service in this town, folks. So having this thing as a walkable neighborhood is an absolute joke. And first of all, I want to delay this thing so the rest of us will have a chance to study it. The people who put this thing together had 4 years to put this plan together. I found out about it this morning. I live at 1304 Whippoorwill. I'm across the street from the people whose homes back up to this property. That is not enough time. I did not get the letter in the mail, and I protest the whole thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hook. Mr. Eaton.
Thank you, council, and Acting Mayor Olson. I'm not going to say too much about this other than the fact that I do oppose it. You've heard some pretty good information here this evening based upon some very, I think, good and considered research on what all is related to the kinds of things that having this kind of surface area covered and the impact that it's going to have surrounding that community. We have an area there that has been zoned R1. All of it is R1. I have no problem with a walkable community whatsoever, but this is not the place nor the time to try an experiment in what is all R1 at this location. Now, some of you appear to find this a little bit amusing, and maybe it is a little bit amusing, but it's not to the remainder of the property owners that are there. And so I think this would be a great opportunity at another place. I think it might go at another place. It isn't going to be something that is going to be welcomed there. I can tell you that for sure. So I wish you would consider this as something that should be reviewed for much greater time and consideration. So I ask that you do that, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eaton. That's the last of our speakers on our list. Discussion.
There is no discussion unless it's informal because this is one of 3 readings, so there's no adoption tonight.
Gotcha. We have a first and a second, right? For 1 and 3.
Yeah, it's already been read.
That's right. Okay. So we're moving on. Everybody good? No more discussion? All right. On to unfinished old business. But
Again, so that the folks here know that this is the first of 3 readings. We're not taking any action on that item this evening. So we'll read it again next month and then the month after that.
I understand that, but you need to be aware of what the feelings are and the considerations to be made.
Most definitely. And I promise you, I took extensive notes from everyone who spoke this evening, and I'm going to get answers to all the questions that were asked.
unfinished old business, item number 1, consideration of an ordinance adopting a fiscal affairs code by codifying existing ordinance and resolutions governing fiscal affairs of the city, the 3rd and final reading.
Mr. Olson, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read the 3rd and final time by title with short explanation.
Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second to read by by title only and short explanation. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance adopting a city code for fiscal affairs and for other purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would combine the current 11 ordinances and 4 resolutions that direct or regulate the fiscal affairs of the city into one code where it can be found.
Item number 2, consideration of ordinance
That was the third and final.
Oh,
So now we do need to vote. Yeah. Yeah.
got you. That was third and final, so I'll accept a motion.
Yeah, motion to adopt.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
You get it? Paul and Nathan. Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item number 2, consideration of an ordinance amendment to zone, what is going on there? Amendment to zone text to adopt proposed changes to the Russellville zoning code, third and final reading.
Move
Mr.
that
Olson.
we suspend the rules, read for a third and final time with a short explanation.
I have a first. And a second by Seth. All in favor, sorry. Any opposed?
An ordinance amending the zoning code for the city of Russellville, Arkansas, ordinance number 2443, and for other purposes, this ordinance, if passed, would amend the current Russellville zoning code, which was adopted by ordinance number 2443 by amending Articles 2 involving special district regulations, single-family residential district, R1. Would do Article 3, additional district provisions and commercial building design. Article 4, fences, walls and hedges, the permitted heights and materials. Article 5, the landscape screening and buffering requirements, specifically landscape installation requirements and tree preservation credits. And Article 6, off-street park requirement and loading requirements, considering particularly off-street parking requirements.
Motion to adopt, anybody?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That was 2, was that number 2? That was number 2. All right. This 3, 4, and 5 are all the same thing. Would y'all be opposed to putting those together?
No, I have no objection.
Item number 3, consideration of ordinance codifying ordinance numbers 256, 278, 377, 391, 393, 412, 550, and 2407 into the existing city traffic and parking code. Item number 4, consideration of ordinance codifying ordinance number 2404, which currently assigns city wards into the city admin code. That's the third and final reading also. And item number 5, which is, now that's second of 2 readings, just 3 and 4. Somebody like to make a motion?
Move we suspend the rules, read by title with short explanation only for the third and final reading for both items 3 and 4.
I have a motion. I have a second by Mr. George. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance amending the existing traffic and parking code adopted by ordinance number 2438, providing for the repeal of existing ordinance or sections ordinance in conflict. This ordinance, if passed, would add the unification of the aforementioned different ordinances as I think ordinance number 256, 278, 377, 391, 393, 412, and 550 into one code, the traffic code. The second item 4 is an ordinance codifying ordinance number 2404, which assigns wards into the city administration code. It would add 2404 into Article 5. It would create a new article, Article 5, in which it would place it into the city administration code.
I'll take a motion.
Motion to adopt.
Have a motion to adopt in a second. Items number 3 and 4. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I'm going to do the same thing with 5 and 6. Wait,
we need to do
no, those could be separate. All right, item number 5, consideration of ordinance to designate economic development services and projects professional services under ACA 1911-801, second of 2 readings. Do I have a motion?
Move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, read by title with short explanation for the second and final reading.
Second.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance amending the fiscal code and declaring economic development services a professional service, and for the purposes, this ordinance, if passed, would amend the just passed fiscal code to add within the professional services chapter an additional section that would declare economic development services a professional service.
I'll take a motion to adopt by Mr. Gray.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keller. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 6, consideration of an ordinance authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute an interlocal agreement with Pope County for operation and personnel expenses of Pope County District Court and for other purpose. Second and final reading.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules, dispense with the reading requirement, and read this second and final reading.
I have a motion
Second.
to have in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the mayor and city clerk treasurer to execute an interlocal agreement with Pope County, Arkansas for the operation and personal expenses of Pope County District Court and for the purposes. This ordinance, if passed, would authorize the mayor and city clerk treasurer to sign an interlocal agreement that is attached with this ordinance that would memorialize the years-long practice of splitting the cost of personnel and operation expenses, and would clarify that the district court clerks are city employees for purposes of a personnel handbook.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adopt.
I have a motion to adopt Mr. Keller,
Second.
second by Mr. Pearson. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. I'll entertain a final motion. To adjourn. Got a motion to adjourn. Good night. Thank you. All right. I'm getting the hang of it at the end. Yeah. Let's go. Get used to it.